village was burnt and the buildings were completely destroyed.
There was a massacre, and that's unforgivable.
As a group, they should be responsible for what they did.
Behind Israel's security barrier, blocking off the Palestinian West Bank, is a reminder of the role New Zealand once played in Palestinian conflict. Maha Ibrahim's family was caught up in a massacre committed by New Zealand troops.
I'm from Sarfand in Palestine.
20-year-old Maha has never seen Sarafand.
I'm a refugee, live in Ramallah, but my origins from Sarfand till now.
And Sarafand is the scene of an atrocity that binds Maha to a New Zealand family she's never met.
Would you like to meet them one day?
Yeah, sure, I would love to, yeah.
Two families, a world apart, both victims of the same tragedy 90 years ago.
So here he is, Leslie Tuhoi Lowry.
Whenever he's at the Auckland Museum, Noel Woods looks up his uncle's name.
L.T. Lowry. I believe he was mown down in a hail of Turkish bullets.
That turned out to be rather different.
Yes.
Trooper Leslie Lowry, dead at just 21, on the Roll of Honour for the First World War. Truth is, Trooper Lowry is a casualty not of war, but murder. A murder that triggered a massacre. And as Noel has discovered, the victims were Maha's village of Sarafand. Their killers, New Zealand soldiers on an orgy of revenge.
I read with shock, horror and amazement what had followed his death. And I was horrified at finding what it was, shocked.
But what were Kiwi soldiers doing in a Palestinian village? Some of the clues can be found up a quiet valley near Whakatane.
Oh, hello, Noel. How are you?
90 years on, Noel's cousin Malcolm Carter still has the kit that Leslie Lowry carried through war.
There was other bits and pieces. There's a photograph of him in full uniform.
Yes, I've never seen that.
December 1918. Kiwis had just won a 4-year bitter and bloody campaign against the Turks. They'd fought their way from the shores of Gallipoli to the deserts of Palestine. At war's end, Leslie had survived the fighting, only to die a month later.
His toilet kit, which is starting to show the signs of wear a little bit. It has his pipe.
Yeah.
That is shaving cream, his toothbrush, shaving brush.
The care his mates showed in shipping his effects home, a measure of their regard for a murdered comrade.
It's like a little time capsule, though. Yeah,
it is.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
That one here is the diary.
Played football against AMR.
A lot of it deals with being in the camps at Palestine. There's one part of it there where he's writes in there that he's taking prisoners, I think, into Jerusalem.
Heavy rain all night, and it's still raining. Still raining, but very nearly got washed out.
At the back, Noel finds Leslie's final words written a month after the armistice.
The tracks to the troughs was like a river, and that's his last entry. He may well have written that on the day of his death. And then the rest is silence.
According to military records long buried in archives, Leslie had caught a thief attempting to steal from his tent.
Leslie awoke and pursued him, and as he was about to catch him, the Bedouin whipped out a revolver and shot him dead.
The consequences for local Arabs would be even more bloody and terrible.
I was shocked to see this young guy killed who was 21, and they were no doubt experienced soldiers who'd been through campaigns and so on.
Troops took the law into their own hands.
They decided to raid the village where the Bedouins came from.
That village was Sarafand. What followed would become the New Zealand Army's day of shame. Today, this is all we could find of Sarafand al-Kharab. Now it's in Israel, but in 1918 it was a part of Palestine, and in the rubble lie the remains of a sorry story of revenge, fire and fear. On December the 10th, 1918, New Zealand soldiers arrived here at the Arab village of Sarafand with murder in mind. According to those who were here, they sealed off this entire village. They pulled out the women and children, set alight to the buildings, and began the business of slaughtering the men. The killings happened while British Commander General Allenby was in Cairo. Outraged, he ordered Anzac officers to investigate, but not a single suspect was identified, even though it apparently involved hundreds of soldiers just a short distance from camp. The army never bothered to ask the victims' families, yet at Maher's house in Ramallah and with other families, we found the Arabs knew plenty, even 90 years later.
What I hear that the whole village was burnt and the buildings were completely destroyed by the fire.
Her father, Ali, says soldiers massacred the men as they fled the burning houses.
They let the women and the girls let them go. They didn't kill them. My grandfather, my father's father, understood that they are letting women go, so he put on his wife's dress and he went out, and this is how he was saved. His brother Ali went out without any disguise, and they killed him. The whole village burned up and nothing was left, and they didn't have even a chance to bury the dead.
One of the great mysteries of this massacre is exactly how many Arabs did we kill? Well, accepted figures range from 20, maybe 40. See, nobody seems to have bothered to have actually got out and done a proper body count. They're only Arabs after all. Except for one man, an Australian soldier, a former policeman, who says he got out the next morning and counted not 20, not 40, not 50 corpses, but no less than 137. Trooper Ambrose Mulhall's account is preserved in Australian archives.
It was the most gruesome sight, the manner in which their heads were bashed and battered.
Ali himself is a living reminder of the atrocity.
His father named him after his father's uncle because he were killed during this accident.
So he is a living memorial?
Yeah, he's a memorial.
Next up, a lone survivor of New Zealand's Day of Shame speaks out.
Why they go and kill the villagers, and for what?
Mohammed Diab wants New Zealand to apologise. Ramla, Israel, and Palestinian Mohammed Diab is probably the last survivor of a New Zealand atrocity. At 92, he can only shuffle, but he's determined to speak for the first time of New Zealand's Day of Shame and how Kiwi soldiers burnt his village and slaughtered the menfolk.
Would you say thank you for coming to see us?
بقول لك شكرا عشان اجيت تشوفهم.
Speaking through translators, Mohammed would tell us of the anger and confusion he still carries 9 decades on.
Why they go and kill the villagers there? Why? For what?
Today, Mohammed journeys back to what's left of his village, where Kiwis came to kill in 1918.
So how many years is it since he was back here? امتى آخر مرة جيت هنا؟
زمان.
It's a longer time. It's a long time.
According to records, some Australian and possibly British troops also joined the slaughter, demanded by Kiwis in revenge for the murder of Trooper Lari. Officers apparently looked the other way. The British demanded New Zealand pay £800 towards rebuilding Sarafand, but there's not much to see.
Was here, his house, it's destroyed now.
Destroyed after villagers fled Sarafand for a second time in the wake of the later Arab-Israeli war. The ID card tells it all. Mohammed was born in 1917, making him just 1 year old when the Kiwis attacked his village.
I am angry about that, about what happened. Why did they kill the people from Sarafand?
Soldiers arrived at his village demanding they hand over Leslie Lari's killer.
This man who killed the New Zealander, who was he?
I don't know who killed him or where he came from. I remember the old people were saying they had no idea who he was. It was a mistake.
In fact, Mohammed asserts his people didn't know who killed Leslie because the culprit actually came from a neighbouring village.
Are you saying that the New Zealanders punished the wrong village?
Yes, I think it was a mistake because he was from Netziona, not from Sarafand.
Tragically, Mohammed reveals the villagers got warning that the slaughter was about to happen, but it seemed too awful to be true.
A cousin of my father, he was working for the English at the time, the British, and he overheard them speaking English about how they were going to attack and burn the village, and they didn't believe him.
At that time, they didn't know the soldiers planning the attack were New Zealanders. Mohammed's terrified brother grabbed him and ran.
I was a baby, and my brother was holding me, and he's the one that hit me in the cactus tree. There was also a man hit by an axe on his head, and some fled the village.
Abu Razak also heard the story from Mohammed's brother before he died.
Put his fingers in his nose in order to stop his breathing, because he was afraid if the soldier was know or see him, they will kill him.
Back in New Zealand, every fresh revelation about the massacre and Leslie Lari's name leaves his family appalled.
What do you think Leslie would have thought of the massacre if he had been alive?
I believe that he would have been horrified and disgusted. It's just so completely out of proportion for some thieving and a murder.
To Leslie Lari's descendants, it's a stain on the family name, one they want to remove.
What it looks like is truly appalling. I don't think there's anything that excuses what happened. There's some basic facts, which is that there was a massacre, and that's unforgivable.
I think all countries should face up to what they did in the wars, and Germany certainly does. We'd be very upset if German history didn't have Adolf Hitler in it and the Holocaust, and it is there.
At Maha's home, we played a taped message from Leslie's family to the people of Sarafand.
We'd like to say that it was something that wasn't within the normal nature of the people that carried out that act. You can see it in the context of war, and we should be very sorry that it happened.
A message of reconciliation from a New Zealand family that was also a victim in this tragedy.
I think we should acknowledge that it happened, and we're very grateful about that.
Maha translated for her father.
I really appreciate their feelings. I appreciate what they are doing, and they are really great people for doing this. They just want to apologize for something they are not responsible about. So yeah, I really appreciate and I respect what they are feeling.
Social historian Nicholas Boyack argues our government should be the one to apologise with a memorial to the civilians our soldiers killed.
An acknowledgement that this occurred,
and recognises our role in what was a very unsavoury incident.
Especially, he says, since the veterans showed no remorse. In 1939, they even boasted about it publicly in verse.
The Jippo was protected, the dirty thieving crew, and if this law was broken, a penalty was due.
The poem even goes on to describe how male villagers, nicknamed as Wallards, were beaten to death.
'Twas a never to be forgotten night. The village was soon in flames. The Wallards knocked when sighted, but protected were the dames.
A poem there for all to see in the RSA Gazette.
Surprising that an RSA official publication would publish something like this, I would have thought.
Even more reason, Boyack argues, for us to apologise today. Mohammed, the survivor, agrees.
Of course they should apologize about what happened. But where are the people of my village now? Where?
But Mohammed's view is not shared by our Prime Minister. John Key says we've already done enough to acknowledge Sarafand. One example, this exhibition on the atrocity at Auckland's War Memorial Museum. The Prime Minister declined to give an interview, saying the incident was unfortunate and regrettable, but he wasn't about to relitigate something that happened just after World War I. He noted, however, that New Zealand had paid restitution to the British, who ruled Palestine at the time. In other words, it seems, no apology necessary now to the Palestinians. Our restitution for our part in the killing of up to 137 civilians, a payment of just £858, 11 shillings and 5 pence. Maha says an apology would mean much more than money for the loss of loved ones.
It would mean something for us who are really now having this story in our memories.
She believes an apology would provide proof for anyone who doubts the story.
It would be a reality, not just something story. Maybe some people would think it's just a fake story.
90 years on, the people of Sarafand are still waiting for a formal apology. One, it seems, survivor Mohammed may never live to hear.